All right, folks. It is that time of year. Fantasy fishing begins tomorrow. Some of y'all may have already been planning and picking your rosters and doing your research and getting it all set up. But tomorrow, Thursday, February 22nd, the Elite Series, Bassmaster Elite Series, kicks off on Toledo Bend on the border of Texas and Louisiana. MLF started their season 2 weeks ago, and they smashed them. I mean, caught a lot of 2-pound fish. I don't know how many. I should bring up the stats for you, but I don't have them. A lot. Connell caught over 100 pounds, I think, on the championship day, and ran away with it. But a lot of them said that their best 5 during that tournament would have been over 25 pounds, which is a good bag. You know, Toledo Bend was the number 1 lake, bass fishing lake, back in 2016 and 2017 or 15, 16 maybe, somewhere back in there, back-to-back years. And ever since that point, I think 15, 16, because the Elite Series was there in 17. And then really from since that point, it kind of fell off. And it was not real good. The grass like completely died off. I mean, like even on the banks, like it went away. Like hay grass that was up on shore died and was no longer there. It was just sand. I don't know. A lot of discrepancies and different stories of who did what or what happened or why it caused this or that. But needless to say, Toledo Bend is back. And it's back in a big way. And I'm hoping that we get to find out through this first event of the Elite Series. Weather is on a warming trend there in Manny, Louisiana, where it's based out of. But there is some wind. There is wind. I think I just saw a post from Jordan Lee blowing 20 to 30 miles an hour right now. He took off his big puffy winter jacket and held it up, and the thing was blowing straight sideways. He said, it's windy out here right now. I don't know. He said south-southwest. If it gets a north or and a south wind that's going straight up that lake, it can get pretty wild, which would limit where these guys probably would be able to fish. Take a lot of that main lake stuff away, I would think. It just depends on how big those waves are. But, watching and looking to see what a lot of the folks have posted, the Elite Series anglers on Bassmaster.com, what they think the total weight or the winning weight is going to be. And a lot of them picked over 100 pounds. So we're there expecting, the anglers themselves are expecting a century belt or 2 or 3. I mean, who knows how many, maybe a handful of them, to be given out in this tournament. Seeing a lot of posts. You know, the MLF tournament 2 weeks ago was a lot of scoping, pinging a minnow and dropping a little minnow down in front of them and catching all those fish. I am sure that there will be a lot of the Elite Series that's doing that. But with this warming trend, I would expect it. I think some of the anglers are getting a little excited that might be moving some of those big fish up towards that spawning area. I don't know. I don't know what the water temp is, and if it's quite that way. But it's going to be moving them in that direction, which, who knows? They might find a big school of them right off of a grass flat getting ready to move up. Maybe some of them will be able to beat the banks in this tournament, and hopefully for the viewing fans that they are able to do a little bit of couple different things. Hopefully there's going to be some guys out live scoping, which I think everyone kind of thinks is not a whole lot of fun to sit there and watch a guy stare at a TV screen and drop a bait in front of fish. I think We all like seeing beat the bank, spinner bait guys, swim bait guys. I think that's a lot more fun and interesting, and they're able to tell a little bit better story for the live. I think, when they're just dropping it down, they're just like, yeah, I see a fish out there. I'm in front of, oh, here it comes, here it comes, oh, there it is. Reeling in. But when they are doing different things, maybe some top water, maybe some flipping some grass, maybe chatterbaiting around some grass, spinnerbait up north on the lake. It is, from reports, I don't know. I used to live pretty close there. I now live not very close. So I haven't been there in 2 years. But they're saying typical Toledo Bend, muddy at the north end and clear at the south end by the dam, and then kind of varies all the way down throughout. But they are expected to catch them. I think it's going to be fun. The live Bassmaster Live will start tomorrow at 7 Central. It will be 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Oh boy, that's 6 Mountain, 5. Ooh, I never thought about that. But if you're over in California, 5 a.m. Hey, that's good. You can watch a couple hours before you head to work. Let me go ahead and try to throw this up real quick and see what that looks like. I don't know if y'all can see that. Yeah, there we go. Yep. All right, so y'all can see the folks that are going to be on live tomorrow. All right, Joey Cifuentes there in the cowboy hat. Kind of made a big splash for himself in the last couple of years, coming through the Opens and out to the Elite Series. The next one is, well, I should have looked up some stats and see who we were looking at, but we got Bassmaster Classic winner Jason Christie out of Oklahoma, so not real far away from Texas-Louisiana border. And he's been known to throw a spinnerbait. So I don't, we'll see. Maybe he'll be up north and find some areas where he can get in there and throw that. Angler of the Year, Kyle Welcher. There. And he's kind of a frogging guy. I mean, he's very versatile, and he has made a splash the last 4 or 5 years. He's been fun to watch. He's got a great YouTube channel. Actually, probably all these guys do. But he kind of started, and that was like his main sponsor on his boat. He had his YouTube rap, and he said, "Hey, follow my YouTube." And then he just became a hammer. Finished second or third in the Classic a couple years ago. And good. Next is I believe an Arkansas native, but Louisiana hammer nonetheless. He's been living in Gonzales, Louisiana, and has done a heck of a job. And we are excited that he has come back from MLF. A couple years, actually, the next couple guys have done that. Switched over to MLF, and then they're back. But we got Greg Hackney, which, he can do a little bit of all, but he likes to flip. He likes to get it down and grind, as they say, and spend some time in that shallow water, swim bait, flipping a jig, the hack attack. So, could be another guy that's on live that maybe not is out just live scoping. Maybe he will be. Who knows? We'll see what he found in practice tomorrow. Multi-Angler of the Year, or winner. I think he's won Angler of the Year once. Greg Hackney. Plotnik, as my dad would say, but Brandon Polinick is the next one there, the second from the right. And Angler of the Year, won some blue trophies here on the Elite Series, and fished really well the last couple times. I believe they were at Toledo Bend on the Elite Series. A little bit later in the year, he was fishing up shallow. I know, throwing a swim bait. I believe he was like in a little grass field where the tips of the grass was coming out the top of the surface of the water, and he was throwing a swim bait through there, and just, I mean, hammer, maybe a top water too, maybe a buzz bait or something like that. But I think a little bit of both. But obviously has a great YouTube channel, so check that out as well. And then maybe I don't know if he's got the biggest following on YouTube, but really a YouTube fisherman turned pro. Fished the I don't know what they call it, but the qualifier, the EQ. Last year, for the first time, actually won the event on Toledo Bend last year, and qualified for the elites this year. So he's a rookie, but his YouTube channel blew up when he caught the, I don't know if it's self-proclaimed or if it is actual true, but he caught the largest 5-fish stringer on camera over on OHIV here in Texas, and he just hammered them. And I think it was like over 60 pounds for 5 fish, which is just crazy, right? I mean, and then that kind of blew that lake up, and everyone started going out there, and it's like a parking lot, I've been told. Haven't been out there, but Ben Milliken is the last one there in the Nebraska hat and the 402 area code for where he's from, representing them strong on his fishing shirt. And I think there's a lot of folks that are excited to see what he does here on the Elite Series. Big time scoper, throwing big old swim baits. Has been spending, I've seen on his YouTube channel lately, been working on getting comfortable with some soft plastics from 6 Cents. That's his big sponsor. He's part owner with them. So exciting to see the start of the Elite Series. That's always a big time for me. I like it. I'm excited. There's been an announcement. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but the Bassmaster Classic is only going to be about, I think, 3.5 hours from me up in Tulsa next month. I don't know. Maybe I'll make a trip up there and check it out. I had a blast driving over to Fort Worth 3 years ago when it was here, and brought the family over, and Cooper and I mostly went to the fishing expo and toured around there and talked with pros, took some pictures. He really enjoyed touring the boats and getting up there and using the power poles and pushing the button and watching them going up and down and getting on those trolling motor and sloshing the water around in those little tanks and stuff. And we had a blast, he and I. And the announcement that just came out 2 weeks ago, is in 2025. The Bassmaster Classic. The Bassmaster Classic is coming back to Fort Worth, baby. Let's go. I will be at that one for sure. I am super excited. That one's going to be fun. And let's get into what we're here for. All right, that's enough. That's what you're going to see on live. Toledo Bend, day 1. Tomorrow, starting at 7 a.m. Central. As you can see in the graphic, it's 8 a.m. There's my mouse over there, but right here, you can see 8 a.m. all times Eastern. So here in the Central Time Zone, we're going to be at 7 a.m. So if you get to work, pull up Bassmaster.com and check it out. It does not appear to be on FS1. I don't know if it's on the Fox Sports app. I'm going to check it out. I'm hoping that it is, so that it's a little bit more accessible on the TVs and you don't have to cast a TV or your phone or whatever up to the TV. I'm hoping it's on the app and I can just click on there and watch it. But let's go ahead and drop that and let's talk about fantasy fishing. Let's talk about what we've got going on. I'm going to try to figure out how to do this. There we go. It's gone. Fantasy fishing. All right. Let's go. If you haven't, I'm going to try to post this up tonight. I don't know if anyone really is following it that doesn't follow my YouTube channel that doesn't do the fantasy fishing. But if you don't, it's free. You win prizes. You have a chance to win prizes. I shouldn't say I've been doing it for a long time. I don't since like 2009, 2008, 7, somewhere in there, right? So we're looking at 15 plus years of doing it. I have only ever won prizes in one tournament. Okay. But still super cool. It's free. It's fun. You can compete against your friends. You can join a lot of different groups. Here, I'll try to show you when we get into this. But you join these groups, and those groups give out prizes for winning. Tackle, clothing, I don't know, stickers. I finished tied for second or third in one of the tournaments last season, and won a $250 Rapala prize package, which came with all kinds of baits, one of their big fancy scales, some decals, some stickers, a hat. I'm probably missing some stuff, some fishing tools or something, maybe fillet knife or some pliers or something. I don't know, something. At some point I moved it. It used to be sitting right here on the ground. I was going to try to pull it out real quick and see I don't know. I had to clean up the house at some point and cleaned it up too good because now I don't know where my fishing stuff is. All right. But anyway, it's free. You can join it. Just go to bassmasterfantasy.com and you are able to pick a roster, and it's free, and it really is luck. I mean, some folks will tell you they spend a lot of time researching and figuring out who's doing what and this and that, and sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, they are going out there and trying to catch a live animal that's swimming under the water that they, for the most part, cannot see. Now, when they're up shallow, bedding fish, they do some sightseeing, they can see them, and with the live scope, they can technically kind of see them that way as well. But yeah, I mean, having a good practice doesn't mean that you're going to have a good tournament. Having a bad practice doesn't mean you're going to have a bad tournament. You might be in an area that just was not super good in practice, but it turns on in the tournament and you do really well. So if you're not signed up, get signed up. It's free. I think you need an email. That's about it. You put in there, and then you pick. They already have the teams selected into buckets. So you got to pick a bucket A, bucket B, bucket C, D, and E, and you can only pick one angler from there. Then you guess how much the total weight is going to be. All right. Like I said, all the anglers that I saw held up a board with dry erase, how much they thought, 101, 100, 107, all over the century mark. So who knows what that's going to be. I'm going to try to share the screen again here. Let's see if this does. Boom. There you go. All right. So, folks, here is my roster on the left, right over and up and down through here, which if you're new to it or whatever, you can click on the angler's name. It'll bring you up onto a page that you can see all kinds of how much they've won, how many tournaments they've fished. You can go and look at all the tournaments they fished and go back and see any East Texas, Louisiana waterways that they have fished, how they did. And that maybe help you choose. I know a lot of times I just pick guys that live near the lake that they're fishing, and that's kind of how I fill up my roster. This one I tried. I don't know. I don't know. Let's just Patrick Walters. I picked him. I know they did live scope 2 weeks ago with MLF. He's pretty good at live scoping. And so I was like, you know what? If it's still there, if they're still out deep where he can find them, I think those guys in MLF were catching them 40 feet deep or in 40 feet of water. Maybe they were suspended at 10, 12 under the surface, but they were fishing out in 40 foot of water. And if that's still going on, I think Patrick Walters here in Group A is still a good choice. A lot of good choices in it. I was really kind of between him and Joey. And for those of you that don't do this, look here on the right side, percentage owned. Okay, that right side of there, you can look and see what percentage of the folks that are in Bassmaster Fantasy are picking that angler. So in this one, the big ones are Joey Cifuentes, Greg Hackney, Jordan Lee. Welcome him back from MLF this year as his rookie year, although he departed BASS after winning back-to-back classics. So he's not technically a rookie. He's been pro for a long time. And Patrick Walters is a high percentage owned. But the highest looks like Greg Hackney is the number one picked person in this bucket. But yeah, there you go. That's it. Lots of good names in there. Lots of good fishermen. I mean, shoot, you're not on the Elite Series if you're not a good fisherman. These guys can all catch them in multiple different ways and multiple different areas. Let's go over to Group B, where I have chosen, whatever the right way to say that. I picked, there you go. I picked Ben Milliken for my bucket B group. Obviously, he won the EQ event last year. There, he is the highest picked, and at 40%, could possibly be the highest percentage owned in the field. We'll look as we go through the rest of the buckets, but that's a really high percentage. But you do have Brandon Polinick coming in at 14. Jacob Prosnick has one on Toledo Bend. So he might be a good one, and especially if you are trying to get some sneaky points, he might be one because only 1.4%. So he's kind of like that dark horse that like people haven't picked. But he has one on Toledo Bend and would be a good choice. Lee Livesey from here in Texas. So he's fairly close to Toledo Bend. Really, he's the Lake Fork guy that's won, I think, the last 2 times that they've been at Lake Fork, which is next week's tournament. But he's high percentage owned in this bucket as well. And then we have Jason Christie. And that's it for the high percentage owns one in this group. But I like these northern guys, like Minnesota, Wisconsin. I feel like they just catch them. I don't know. They have the ice fish during the winter up there, so that it's not like they're getting way more practice than the rest of us. Maybe they just have to be that more dialed in when they get to fish. And so they're able to locate and find them, and I don't know what it is, but those guys, I feel like every time they add another angler. Jay Shakurit from Wisconsin set the record of smallmouth for 4 days, over 107 pounds, I think, or 104 pounds, something like that, of just smallmouth only. So another Wisconsin guy, right, from Stevens Point. But this is one right here. Carl Jacobson, it was one that I was kind of thinking about because he's a guy, him and Polnick, they kind of ride together. One of them's married to the other one's cousin or sister, or I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not. Whatever. But I just, man, made a big splash when he came over and qualified for the Bassmaster Classic, I believe, in Gunnersville when Randy Howell won it, and had a bunch of following people from Australia that came up. And I don't know. He throws a big swim bait. He's not afraid to get in those glide baits, as he might say, with his Australian accent. But that was one that I was kind of like. I was like, oh man, I like him in that group, but I just kind of had to go with Ben Milliken. All right, Group C, JT Tompkins, young angler that I don't really know why I picked him. Maybe he was a big. Brandon Lester's a high percentage pick. Scott Martin coming off of a big win on Lake Okeechobee in the EQs. And set the record for 3-day bass at 94 pounds, 3 days of 5 fish, 94 pounds. So that's pretty good. That's 30 plus pounds average a bag. So he's coming off. He's got I think some momentum. He's already qualified for the Classic with that win. So now he's not necessarily bound by points, although I think you do still want to do well in the points and continue to keep yourself in contention to not be kicked out. I don't know where he is on that, where they got to move out 9 guys every year or 10, 12 guys. I don't know what it is. Out of the elites to move in the new guys. I don't think you want to be dropping where you're near that. So I think you still have to he needs to be conscious of points. But his unfinished family business, which is his YouTube shows, is what they're called for the Elite Series, is trying to win the Bassmaster Classic that his father, arguably one of the greatest bass fishermen ever, never won the Classic. And so that's what he's kind of set out to do, is I'm going to win that unfinished family business and win the Classic. So, but now he's qualified for that, so he doesn't have to worry about it. So maybe he can take some more risks and go for the win through this year. Trey McKinney, almost at 10%. Gerald Swindle at 14. And then Clark Windlet, another Texas guy, which Clark and Gerald Swindle just kind of seem to be the tried and true, right? They just doesn't seem like they ever have a bad day of fishing. I'm sure they might come in and say, man, that was rough or that was tough or whatever, but they just always seem to be, when it's time to get a check, they're always in that line. I feel like. So either of them is always a good pick as well. Jacob Fouts. All right, so Group D, Jacob Fouts. All right, Keith Combs has done very well on Toledo Bend. Sam Rayburn, Lake Fork, fishes those areas from Huntington, right on the shores of Sam Rayburn. High percentage. I don't know. This might be a wild hair here, but I'm going with Jacob Fouts. Had a little bit of like a couple weeks of flurry of excitement on social media, with him, kind of coming out and saying, man, like, I thought once I, made the Elite Series that I would get sponsors and it would just come easy and that kind of stuff, and kind of found the opposite. It's not super easy. Not what I guess what he was expecting. And so kind of got, a lot of posts and follow-ups and, well, you still got to work and you got to do this or whatever, people telling him what he needs to be doing or whatever. Super good fisherman. Also, I believe, very good at live scoping. So if he's still in play there. But I think got hopefully a chip on the shoulder from I don't want to say the beating or the bullying, but like the what went down on social media and YouTube and all that kind of stuff this year or this past off season. Just like I'm hoping he comes out and he is just like full go. Let's get this done and let's prove them what I can do. So that's why I'm kind of picking him. Hopefully it doesn't blow up in my face. Ben Milliken's still the highest percentage pick that we've seen, but Keith Combs, I think, looks like number 2 highest. Logan Latuso, another Louisiana guy. Caleb Summerall, a Louisiana guy. Oh, here we go. And Chris Zaldane, Mr. Big Swim Bait and Spoon and Glide Bait guy himself right here out of Fort Worth. He beat by 1.5% almost Keith Combs. So he's the highest one in that bucket. All right, and then Group E. You got Will Davis Jr. fished really well last year. 15.8%. Buddy Gross, Tennessee, just kind of shows up when he needs to. 16.3%. And then Brad Watley from East Texas, I think, I don't know, grew up fishing Lake of the Pines or something over there. A lot. So, I think that's probably why when you get down here in the Group E, folks, a lot of times are picking someone that lives near there to try to do it. Sukup was 2-time winner of MPFL. Big old Shield trophy. I mean, I got to see one at the Classic in Fort Worth. Talked to him a little bit, but he qualified and then fished the elites last year and just didn't have the year that I picked him a lot on fantasy last year, and he just didn't get it done. I think he spent a good bit of this offseason fishing, it seems like, and tooling up and really trying to make a good run at it this year. I'm pulling for him. Been super fun to watch. He's got some YouTube. He had some YouTube controversy 2 years ago or whatever, but seems like a super cool dude when I got to talk with him. But this, hopefully he does well so he can stick around in the Elite Series for years to come and continue to do it. There's another guy from Wisconsin. I don't think you can ever go wrong with those. Caleb Kufal, Kyle Norsetter. I'm telling you, I just don't think you can go wrong with a guy from Minnesota, Wisconsin. They just seem to be able to catch them all over the place. Chad Pitkins being down here this low in Group E, that seems not a normal landing spot for him. So, I don't know. I guess you had to move some of those guys up for putting Ben Milliken as a rookie. Really only his second year of fishing like pro. Last year he fished EQs, was his first year. Otherwise he'd fished tournaments and stuff, but I don't know that he fished like a full season of pro fishing. But he's in Group B. Big YouTube following, big hype coming up behind him to try to see. I'm sure there's a lot of folks that are his fans and are hoping he does super well. And there's probably some folks that are hoping that he does not do so well because he's a YouTube guy but he's pretty darn good at catching big fish. So, and Toledo Bend has them. So let's look at, there's my roster. Patrick Walters, Ben Milliken, JT Tompkins, Jacob Fouts, and Brad Watley. All right. And then you get to pick, folks that are new to it. You get to pick what you think. I picked 92.10. Then I saw today that a lot of folks the anglers say that they're going to catch over 100 pounds. So maybe I'm a little light on that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the wind will mess it up and they won't be able to catch as much as they think they're going to. We'll see. And then there's another tab. I do this on my phone. This is really one of the first times. I don't know where they show it. But there's another tournament, Drain the Lake. All right. So on the fantasy fishing, this group right here, where you pick bucket A through E, you get to pick one angler in each bucket, and you add them to your roster over here. You pick the weight. Your weight remains the same. Once you select it on one or the other, Drain the Lake or on this fantasy fishing, it automatically goes to the other one. You don't get to pick two different winning weights. You just pick one. Each tournament, these buckets, the anglers will move depending on how they're doing. If they're doing really well and they're moving up towards the top of Angler of the Year, they're probably going to be moving up into bucket A. And if they're not doing so hot, they're going to start moving them down towards bucket E, so that you, I guess, kind of have your top tier guys more towards the front and your guys that aren't doing so hot more towards the back, so you can't just pick a loaded roster. I don't know why they move around. When we first started this, I think I can't remember, but it was different. You used to be able to have like a salary or something. You couldn't spend over X number of dollars on buying these anglers, and you put them in your deal. So you could pick like two guys at the very top, the top two guys, and then go and pick like three in the very back end of it and hope they do well. But this one, I like this. Everyone gets to pick bucket A, so you could end up in a group and have the same exact roster as your buddy, because this isn't like fantasy football or fantasy baseball or basketball where you draft players. You every tournament get to pick out of these buckets, so that it's an even playing field. Like no one locks in the number one angler and then they have the best year ever and they just wreck shop in fantasy because they're doing so well. You can also pick them. So just because someone in your group picks that angler doesn't lock them out from you. You get to pick. You could have the same roster. And they do not, fantasy will not show you whatever group. You can't see anyone else's roster until, well, you can see mine. But you can't see other folks. Like if you're competing against them, you can't go in and be like, oh, all right, I'm going to pick the same roster as them, and then I'm going to change one person. You cannot see that until the rosters are locked, unless they were to share it with you or share it on their social media or something where you could see it earlier. But you cannot click on anyone's name or profile and see what their roster is until they're locked. And then once they're locked, you cannot change your roster. But the other one, which is Drain the Lake, and I don't know how to switch over to it, so we're just going to have to look right here. But this one is a different style of fantasy fishing, where you pick your roster for that lake, and once you use an angler, you cannot use that angler in another tournament. So it's kind of like that double-edged sword. You've got to pick the guys that are going to do well in this tournament, but not the guys that are going to do good in this tournament, but better on another one, because you want to use them on the lake that they're going to do their best fishing of the year. And this one, they give a huge bonus, like 400-point bonus or something, if you select the winner. So if you select the winner of like 2 or 3 of the tournaments, you are going to be very high ranked that year in the Drain the Lake in the country, and probably win your group if you pick 2 or 3 of those winners in the year, but you lose them. The bonus points that you can win from the fantasy fishing, right? So there's winner on this one. I don't know if they give any other bonus points out on that one. The winner gets like 400 bonus points, which is like the worth of like 2 or 3 extra anglers that you had on your roster, right? So that's really what you're trying to do on that one. But they give 40 points bonus for the biggest bass of the tournament. They give 40 points bonus for the biggest bag of the tournament. And they give 5 bonus points for each daily leader. So 4 days: Thursday daily leader, Friday daily leader, Saturday daily leader, and then whoever wins day 4 automatically gets that bonus 5 for that day. So you could get an extra 40, 40, and 10 is a 90. Could get a bonus of 90, and those really help you, and can really swing it where you don't necessarily have like the winner of the tournament might not be the best person in that bucket. So, for example, the winner could be Joyce Fuentes of the tournament. But Patrick Walters finishes 8th, but has the biggest bag and the biggest bass of the tournament. He gets 80 bonus points. So let's say he gets like 280 points for fantasy for finishing 8th. Then he gets the bonus 80. So he's at like sitting at 360. Where let's say Joyce Fuentes wins it and leads every single day of the tournament. He only gets 20 bonus points, 5 for each day. And he gets 300 for the win. So he'd be 320. But Patrick Walters, because of those two bonus sections of 40 points each, would actually win that bucket, would be the best angler for you to choose. So, different strategies, I guess, different folks. But really, you just get on it, sign up for it. It's free. Click it, select a roster, hit submit, select save it. Select guess a weight. You can get on Bassmaster. They usually show what the anglers are selected. So just pick something around there, and you'll probably be just fine. They use that for the tiebreaker, which I don't know. I really don't know how all that works. But like I said, I've only ever won one prize, and that's like 15 years of trying. So, but yeah, jump on there, bassmasterfantasy.com. And you can hopefully enjoy some prizes and just some fun and get your friends, family involved, and you will have fun. All right. That is it for this week. I'm going to try to do this on Sunday before the tournament. This week, I know this is the first tournament of the year, so this is really the longest break between tournaments. I should be the most prepared for this one. How it snuck up on me, and I've been looking for it and marking it on my calendar and waiting for it to be here. And it got to last weekend, and I looked. I was like, oh, shoot, they're starting to fish this Thursday. I said, I thought we had another week. So this one's coming out kind of late, but hey, better late than never. We appreciate you for tuning in and sticking out through the deal. I have invited the folks that are in our little private group, and just to have them on here, and maybe you don't have to listen to me talk as much. But this was a last minute. I just threw out the text this afternoon, a couple hours ago, really, and was like, hey, if any of y'all are able to get on, get on. If you don't want to or don't have time, no problem, no worries. But yeah, here it is tomorrow. Toledo Bend on the border of Texas and Louisiana. The showdown goes down tomorrow, 7 a.m. Central, Bassmaster.com. Check it out. We'll see y'all there. And I'm going to hit you out with a little tune. I don't know if I'm able to do this because this is really from my other YouTube channel, but start it over, huh? How do we get it started? I don't know. Who cares? But yeah, this is from the Mountain Duo. So we'll get to put a little credits down in the bottom of the notepad when I post those comments. But yep, we appreciate you joining in. Check it out tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Be a lot of fun. Should be some big fish catching, and check it out on Bassmaster.com, and then it switches over to Fox Sports at some point, I believe, or it has in the past. We'll see y'all on the next one for Lake Fork. See y'all.